Welcome back to Clash of Cultures. This is actually a video I'm very excited to do. What we're going to do is we're going to predict, looking at the schedule, where we believe College Game Day is going to be every week of the season, excluding week 0, going all the way through week 13. So a couple rules for that is the game had to be on Saturday. We're picking a game that had to be on Saturday. And I say that, for instance, because I think in week 1, LSU plays Florida State, but that game happens on a Sunday, so we couldn't pick that game. So the game has to be on a Saturday. And yeah, this is something that I think we all probably do as the college football season goes along. We're going to try to predict this, and again, hopefully revisit this video and see how many we got right. Now, you all know College Game Day every year takes one crazy one. A lot of times they'll visit a D2 school or a D3 school or Navy or something crazy. But this should be fun. But before we get into our picks, like always, we thank you all for your support and love. If you've made it this far into the intro, please press the like and subscribe button. Please comment your thoughts on everything that we say. We love the engagement. With that being said, Steven, you have the trivia for this week. So what's your trivia question?
I sure do. Okay, so for the trivia question, questions, I would say, I have six players. I have six players.
6 players.
And before we start, you have to do this. I need to see hands because I know you're going to be cheating. So I want to see your hands.
I have nothing.
All right, come on. I want to see the hands.
Right.
All right, so there's going to be 6 players that are in the NFL.
Okay.
And I'm going to name them, and you have to tell me what college they went to.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And we're going to start easy, and we're going to go all the way down, and it's going to get tougher as we go. Okay. And in the comment section below, let us know down below if you guys knew these. Don't lie. So just, come on, man. Just have some integrity. All right. So the first name, do you know where Brian Burns went to college?
Brian Burns.
Defensive end for the Panthers.
Oh.
This is an easy one. Come on, huh?
Brian Burns, Florida State.
Florida State. All right, you are 1 of 1. You're 1 of 1. Okay. Number 2, you should get this one pretty easy.
Okay.
Do you know where Tristan Wirfs went to college?
Clemson.
No. Offensive tackle from the Bucks.
Oh.
Tristan Wirfs.
Florida?
No.
I don't know.
Iowa. He went to Iowa.
Okay.
All right, so 1 of 2, 1 of 2. So number 3, this is where it gets a little tougher. You may know this or you may not. Do you know where Cordero Patterson went to school?
I do. Oh, my goodness.
I'm going in the time machine here. It's been a little while.
Oh, Cordero.
Drafted by the Vikings out of this school.
I'm going to say like Mississippi. He went to Ole Miss?
But it is in the SEC.
Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Okay.
All right, so 2 out of 3. Number 4. Do you know where Xavier Howard went to school?
He went to Florida State.
He did not go to Florida State. He went to a Big 12 school.
Texas Tech?
No.
Where'd he go?
Baylor.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
All right, number 5. This may be easier than Xavier Howard. 5. This is number 5 of 6, so he's 2 of 4 so far.
Okay.
Where did James Conner go to school?
Pitt.
He went to Pitt. I didn't think he was going to get that one. All right.
I remember that.
3 of 5. This might be the hardest one, just because, I knew it, but I feel like the casual person doesn't know it, and you might not think about where college is. I do that all the time, but do you know where Fred Warner went to school? Linebacker from 49ers. Where did he go to school?
I'm going to say Utah.
No, but that is very close.
Where?
He went to BYU.
Felt like it was a.
Hey, no, the fact that you guess Utah is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of crazy. But that was the trivia of the day.
That's pretty good.
6 players in the NFL. What school they went to? Let us know in the comment section how many you guys got right. Don't lie. So we'll see. But nonetheless, getting into the College Game Day predictions. The reason why you guys are actually here.
Yeah. Oh, you can pull up the schedule.
No, I'm not gonna pull the schedule. We're just gonna type. I'm gonna type it in as we go. I'll go first. This might be a controversial one for some of you guys. Some of you guys might be in the comment section saying that doesn't really count or whatever. I went back and forth between 2 games. I'm sorry. But I chose North Carolina versus South Carolina. I think both teams are going to be pretty good. Obviously, it's not a at a campus though. That's the problem. But I went ahead and chose it for that reason. My mouse is acting up, so don't worry about that. The mouse is going to be acting up all video, but that's what I chose. I chose North Carolina and South Carolina.
Okay, that's a neutral site game. That has happened. So for week 1, and I think just with all the hype for both teams, TCU coming off the national championship, Colorado obviously with Deion Sanders. I picked the Colorado TCU game.
And it's at TCU, right?
That is, I'm pretty sure it's at TCU. Yes.
Alrighty. Colorado at TCU. All right. Week 2, you go ahead and go. We'll snake back and forth. So you got week 2.
So week 2, I went and this one was a little tough. I couldn't pick a great game here. I went a little, I guess you'd say, oddball here. I went Wisconsin versus Washington State.
What made you choose that one? Is it at Washington State?
At Washington State, yes. I think it's, first of all, it's a 7:30 game. I think Luke Fickell, I think Ward, I think these are, and I think this is one of the better games during this week. Now I know, I'm pretty sure what game you went. And I just think sometimes College Game Day tries to go away from some of the obvious games.
Alrighty, my week 2. Most of you guys are probably going to guess this one. I went Texas at Alabama.
Yeah.
That's the game that I chose. I think if you guys were here in the Alabama video as well as the Texas video, I think this is a big test for both ball clubs. We're going to find out a lot about both teams here. We're going to find out if Alabama is not going to have question marks in this game. We're going to find out if Texas is quote unquote back in this game. So I think this game is going to be huge. I think of all the games that I go through on this, this is the one I feel most confident about that's going to actually happen. Just because I feel like these are 2 historic programs, and there's a lot of questions surrounding really both teams. So I think that's going to be a good one. My week 3, and before I say my week 3, I had to not put this team on here a lot because I feel like they had a lot of good games, and it could just be because of the SEC. But I have LSU at Mississippi State in this week. I think this is going to be a good game. We talked about Mississippi State a few I guess videos ago, and I think Will Rogers is going to have another good season. Obviously, they have a new offensive coordinator coming in, and we saw what LSU did last year, and they have some playoff hopes. So I think this game is going to be really good. So I think it's going to be back to back SEC teams on game day with week 1, week 2, week 3, South Carolina, and then Alabama, and then LSU, Mississippi State. So I chose that game.
So for the 3rd week in a row, and I'm sure I'm going to come off as the SEC hater, and that's probably going to continue for a bit. I went a team that I think is going to be very good and a team that I think is going to be surprising. I went Florida State at Boston College.
That's an interesting one. Why did you choose that one?
Like I said, first I think Florida State is going to be a top team. I have them finishing in my 4, and I think Boston College is returning a lot. I think they're going to be a really good team. And I think this is, again, one of those games where College Game Day gets to go somewhere that they don't normally go.
Gotcha. Alrighty, what did you have for your week 4 game?
Week 4, this one was one of my easiest. I went Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Okay.
And anytime you get an opportunity to go to Notre Dame, this is one of the premier early games, especially on a Saturday. Yeah, and Notre Dame gets another opportunity to host. And Ohio State, I think I said this earlier to Steven, is the team that has been on game day the most.
So you said this was your easiest one to do. This was my easiest one to do as well. I chose Florida State at Clemson. I think that game is going to be kind of marquee in how the ACC gets decided. Obviously, both of these teams have playoff hopes and aspirations. I would assume both of these teams by this point in the year are probably going to be ranked in the top 10. I think Ohio State and Notre Dame will probably be in the top 10 as well. Yeah. Definitely Florida State and Ohio State will definitely be in the top 10. I think Clemson and Notre Dame will be fringe right around the 10 mark. So I think either of these games realistically could happen. I wish they could do 2 game days, but they can't. So I guess we'll just see who's right about the week 4 one. But I had the Florida State at Clemson game.
Okay.
Moving on to week 5. Week 5 is kind of where I start shaking some things up. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Those of you guys who've been watching our previews, if you haven't, go back and watch all of them, or watch the teams that you're interested in, or the teams that maybe rivals to your favorite team. But I was very high on this team in that preview, and a lot of people call me crazy. Nebraska fans loved me. So I'm going to go Michigan at Nebraska here. Week 5.
Ooh.
I think Michigan makes an appearance at Nebraska. I can't tell you the last time that Game Day's been in Nebraska. Nebraska has the most hype it's had in a long time right now with Matt Rule coming in. I think they're going to be either 3-1, 4-0 at this point. They may be breaking in the top 25 at this point, heading into week 5. Michigan's going to be a top 3 team. So
I'm very shocked by your pick there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so that's the game I chose, Michigan at Nebraska.
Now, this was a week that was a little tough for me. There were so many ways I wanted to go this week. And yeah, this week was tough. I mean, was it tough for you? Did you have a tough time picking that over? Because there's some games here.
So there are some games, but it was hard because I didn't want to make it to where, like, as an example, I have Clemson on this list 4 times because
I got you.
In real life, they're not going to put the same team on game day every week because it's going to get watered down. So I tried to use other teams, and I felt like this one was a kind of good way to kind of shine light on Nebraska and kind of stamp what I've been beating the drum about in the last couple of weeks.
All right, so week 5 was my first SEC game, and I have LSU and Ole Miss.
Yeah, so I went back and forth with that one, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I may have had this game penciled in. But as I moved throughout the whole season and I had LSU all over the place, I was like, okay, I can't have them all over the place. And that's why, for example, I have LSU at Mississippi State a couple weeks prior. It would be weird to have them on there again. You said that's at Ole Miss?
It's at Ole Miss, yes.
Alrighty. So far, we have not had any of the same games, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, so I got next. What is this? Week 6?
Week 6.
Week 6, I have the Red River rivalry.
Okay, and just when I said that, we have
OU Texas. Yeah,
I have the same one there. As soon as
rivalry game, middle of the season, always good football. Yeah, I had to go there.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be a good game. Obviously, Oklahoma had a down season last year. I think they're going to be, back in the running. Go ahead.
I think we're going to have the same week. That was what week
6,
right?
Week 6. It's funny
you got 6 written twice on the thing, and it messes up the rest of your numbers.
Oh, okay, let me just go down then. Let me fix it. But yeah, so I think we're gonna end up having the same ones. Like we're gonna
for a little
I think so. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys, but I'm not gonna edit this part out. This is raw and uncut, so you guys can see the process.
You can delete the last week.
All right, we'll just skip that one. All right, so my week 7. I have yet to have a Pac-12 opponent or game. So I'm going to go Oregon at Washington. Do you have that one as well?
I have Oregon at Washington as well.
Alrighty. So we'll just throw that on there.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Pac-12 is going to play great football. I think quiet is kept. This game is going to have playoff implications.
And Heisman implications as well.
And Heisman implications. Yeah, absolutely. So week 8 now, right? Week 8, week 8. I have Ohio State making their second appearance. I think for me on here, they have Penn State
bro.
In the whiteout. So Penn State, the game's at Penn State. So Ohio State at Penn State.
I have it written down wrong then. No, it's at Ohio State.
Is it?
Yeah, it's at Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
It's in Columbus.
Okay, I wrote it wrong.
Yeah, so that's 3 weeks in a row now that we've had the same games. As soon as I said that we wouldn't, see how that works. Alrighty, moving on to week 9. My week 9, if we have the same one again, let's just cut the video.
Yeah.
My week 9, I don't think you're gonna have it because these are 2 teams that you probably shouldn't have on here. But I think we talked a little bit about one of these teams and their coach being on the hot seat, and I would anticipate that. At this point in the year, they're going to be a little bit. They're going to be a little bit better. So I'm going to go South Carolina at Texas A&M. So that this is going to be after 3 straight SEC game days. You take a month and a half break of going to the SEC, and then you have another SEC game. So South Carolina at Texas A&M at Kyle Field. Hopefully that game is a decent game to where it can be on game day.
All right, so for me, week 9, I have a team making its second appearance. I go Oregon at Utah. Again, Heisman implications. I think Pac 12 is going to have amazing football this year. So, yeah, I had to go Oregon at Utah.
Okay.
Week 10, I feel fairly certain we're going to have the same game. I got Notre Dame at Clemson.
Wow. I do not have that game.
Oh!
So, the reason why I don't have this game, obviously, those of you guys who can see my background a little bit, maybe not. I'm a huge Clemson fan. My dad and I are actually planning to go to that game. So, that's we still got to figure that out a couple months away. But I think this might have been the hardest week for me to choose. Game.
I am shocked you didn't pick Notre Dame at Clemson.
Well, so the reason why I think it was one of the hardest weeks, so you have obviously Notre Dame at Clemson. The game that I chose was LSU Alabama.
Okay.
I think the reason why I chose that one, I think by this point in the year, that game is going to decide that division. Now, obviously, if you guys watch the bold predictions, I said I'm going to have Ole Miss or Mississippi State in the SEC West. That's a bold prediction. I would not bet my money on that. I think LSU and Alabama are going to be either undefeated at this point or maybe one loss apiece right around there. And I think this head-to-head matchup is going to decide who goes to the conference championship game. But there was a number of good games this week. They had Texas A&M, Ole Miss. You had Washington, USC. You had I'm missing a game. Give me 1 second. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Texas. So there was probably 5 or so games that I went back and forth with. But I felt like the LSU Alabama game had the most meaning when it comes to the SEC, and the SEC obviously is the best conference. Okay. So that's why I went with that game over my Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that.
Okay, so now don't get me wrong, I'd love for it to be in Clemson because then I'd be able to see.
Especially if we go, that would
be amazing. My week 11 game. Let me make sure I say this right. My week 11 game was another one that was really hard to choose.
This was one of my toughest weeks.
But I went, and I hope you don't choose this game because they'll be making the third appearance on your list. I went USC at Oregon. So the reason why I chose this one, obviously, I've only had one Pac-12 game 2.5 months into the season on game day. So I think they're going to be due for another game. Obviously, Oregon was already there before. You have the reigning Heisman winner. I think USC is probably going to be undefeated at this point. So I think they're going to give him a lot of love. Kind of pushing that narrative for him. So I think USC at Oregon is going to be the marquee game for week 11.
All right. So I stayed out of the Pac-12, although Pac-12 has some games. I think Utah-Washington is this week.
Utah-Washington is that week. Miami, Florida State. There's a bunch
but I went Michigan at Penn State.
That was a good one as well.
Yeah, this was a tough week. But, yeah, I went Michigan-Penn State.
Alrighty. And who is your week 12? I think we're going to have the same week 12, but we'll see.
My week 12, I think, again, and I've talked about this in preview videos, I think the game that's going to decide the SEC, I went Georgia at Tennessee.
I had that game as well. I think, just like I said with the Texas-Alabama one, assuming that these teams are what we think they're going to be, I think this is one of the easier games to pencil in for game day. ESPN and game day would be stupid not to schedule this game. Again, unless one of these teams just fall off a cliff and they're, 4-5 or 4-4 heading into this game or 5-5, whatever. Week 13 was another easy one for me. I know you chose it. So it's going to be the Ohio State at Michigan game. Another really easy one, obviously, unless a few teams fall off the cliff. But I think week 2, 12, and 13 were the easiest ones. Yeah. That's where I have it. Go ahead and say your spiel. I know you have them too. But
as I said, I think not only does this game decide the Big Ten, and again, maybe I'm a Big Ten homer, but I hate Michigan as much as anybody. But I think this game, I would not be shocked if this is a 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3 type game. I think my early prediction is that the national championship team is the team that wins this game.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now you notice I do not have Alabama on my thing at all, on purpose, or Georgia. Oh, yeah, I do got Georgia. I got Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah, I think they're gonna find a way to put Alabama on there though. realistically.
Yeah, no,
I think that would be dumb for them not to. But I would assume we have the same conference championship week. So who obviously we can't pick the teams, but just what conference do you think is going to host game day?
So I wanted to go Pac-12. We actually talked about this. Pac-12 does not play on the Pac-12 championship is not on a Saturday. So I went with the SEC championship.
So did I. So I chose the SEC championship game. But now I'm going to be honest. I think even if the Pac-12 was on,
you spelled championship.
I know. Even if the Pac-12 was on a Saturday, I'd probably still go the SEC just because I think it's easier to say that the SEC championship game is going to be between two teams that are 11-1 or undefeated rather than the Pac-12, because I think there's so many good Pac-12 teams that we very well could see a 10-2, even 9-3 Pac-12 participant in the title game. And I don't think that's as good as seeing an 11-1, Georgia against an 11-1 Alabama. That's the only reason why I chose SEC, obviously, and because of Friday's situation.
And this is where structure-wise, the Big Ten is hurting, right? I think the Big Ten game, and I'm a Big Ten guy, stood no chance to me because I believe the Big Ten West is very weak. Now, if it was that Ohio State-Michigan game, if they both were on opposite sides, or if this was like next year where they'll be able to play again, maybe I would have looked a little bit harder at the Big Ten. But that's what hurt them for me, because again, the Big Ten West is very much weaker than the East.
Now let me ask you this: we haven't brought them up at all, but where would you put a Clemson Florida State rematch ACC title game?
That would be a very good game, and I think hopefully we do this again, because as we go through the season, I think this can drastically shift.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think if what's going to happen is one of these games is going to have playoff implications, and maybe two or three of them. But one of them is going to have drastic playoff implications. And what I mean by that is you're going to have two teams that both, if they win, one of them is going to get in and the other one isn't. That game is probably going to be the game that ends up as the game day game of the week.
Yeah, I agree. But I think any of the conference championship games realistically could be. It just depends. I mean, how it shakes out. Obviously, I think the SEC has the best chance just because of how they're kind of set up with, Georgia and Tennessee being the only powerhouses. So we'll just have to see. But nonetheless, this was my dad and I's game day predictions for the year. It'll probably change, but we might do this halfway through the year, kind of change it up and see where we were right, where we were wrong, and predict the second half of the season. But as always, if you guys stuck around with this for this lengthier video, please like, comment down below, subscribe for us. We're almost to 650 subscribers or so. We're going to be doing the giveaway when we hit 1,000. And down below in the comment section, take the time and give us your predictions for every week. And then, what games you agree with us, what game you disagree, if we missed any key games, any marquee matchups. But we will see you guys again tomorrow. Peace out.